Good morning, Year 4. Lovely to be speaking to you all. I hope everyone is well, and we're going to be starting our first maths lesson of the week today. So with all of our maths lessons, we'll just be starting with a few quick-fire mental maths questions as we do in class in school. The objective for this week is just to be able to add single-digit numbers to three-digit numbers. So I'd like you to have a go at these 4 questions on the board. You can pause the video, and then when you restart the video, I will go through the answers. If these at all look too difficult for you, you could get yourself a dice, or in Google, just type in online dice, and you could roll a dice twice and just practice adding the numbers. If you'd like to pause the video now and have a go. Okay, so welcome back, Year 4. The answers to these questions you can now see on the board. Hopefully you've thought about using some of the strategies that we've been talking about in class, and you were self-checking your answers. If I was doing 407 add 8, for example, then in my head I might well be doing 407 adding 3, which takes me to 410. Adding then my 5, which takes me to 415. So you can see that I've broken down adding 10 into add 3, add 5. That's because by adding 3, I get to the nearest multiple of 10. I'm bridging through my 10. If I was doing 602 subtract 7, then I might well do 602, take away the 2, which is obviously going to get me to 600, and then once I've got the 600 then stored in my head, I could take away another 5, giving me 595. And as you can see, I've subtracted the 7. If any of you had a go at what other facts you know, well, if I know 730, subtract 8 is 722. I also know 7,300, subtract 80 is 7,220. Effectively, each of these numbers I've made 10 times bigger, therefore my answer is also 10 times bigger. So the objective for today's lesson is, can I round numbers to the nearest 10, nearest 100, or nearest 1000? These are all skills that you've had an individual lesson on and practice earlier in the year. So you had a lesson on rounding to the nearest 10, a lesson on rounding to the nearest 100, rounding to the nearest 1000 as well. You're going to be using these skills again tomorrow to be doing some estimating. But how you're going to be successful today is about knowing which place value column to look at when you're rounding. And also just have an idea about, if you positioned your number on a number line, the 10, 100 or 1000 that would come before it, or the multiple of, or the 10, 100,000 that would come after it. And I'll model that in a moment so that you're clear about that. So first of all, rounding to the nearest 10. I'm going to model 4-digit numbers because that's really what we should all be confident with by the end of this year. But I appreciate that some of you today will feel more confident just working with 3-digit numbers or 2-digit numbers. And I will show you your tasks at the end of this video, and there are 4 different tasks you can choose, and that will be the same in the majority of maths lessons. There will always be a choice of tasks, and the majority of times there will be a choice of 4 tasks as well. So rounding to the nearest 10, which digit do I need to be looking at? Well, I need to look at my tens column. If I label my thousands, my hundreds column, my tens column, and my ones column, we can see that it's this column here is the one that I'm looking at. That's what I'm looking to round to. That is my tens column. Then I need to look at the digit then before that. And my digit before it is in the ones column, and it's a 9. So we all hopefully remember the rhyme. 0 to 4, touch the floor. 5 to 9, climb the vine. If my number before the column that I'm rounding to is a 0 to 4, I'm going to round down to the 6. If my number in the column before the one that I'm rounding to is a 5 to 9, then I'm going to round up. I can also put my numbers that would come before this to the nearest 10 or after this number to the nearest 10 on my number line to help me. 4,560, if I'm going to round down to the nearest 10, 4,570 if I'm going to round up to the nearest 10. Now I know that my halfway point is 4,565. Anything larger than that will round up. And actually, if I was to put this number on the number line, 4,569, it's roughly going to be there, with obviously 4,570 at the end of the number line, 4,560 at the start of the number line. So using visual aids that help me, I can clearly see that this is closer to 4,570. I would round up to 4,570. But as I said previously, without even drawing the number line, I could have worked that out by the fact that the 9 tells me I would need to round the 6 up in the tens column to a 7. If at any point you need to revisit this, then please do watch the video again. I'm now going to round to the nearest 100. I still have got the same number, 4,569. So I'm now looking at my hundreds column. I need to look at the number in the column before. This time it's a 6, and that will tell me whether I need to round my hundreds column up to 600 or keep it as 500. So I already know now that it's going to be 4,600. But again, to model it on a line to make this really clear for people, 4,569, if I was going to round down, would be 4,500. If I was going to round up, it would be 4,600. My halfway point is 4,550. Well done those of you who got there before me. And looking at an estimate of where I put this number, well, 4,550, 4,560, 4,570. So my number's going to roughly go around here, 4,569. Again, I can see it is closer to 4,600 than 4,500, so I would be rounding up. As I've said previously, the indicator though is that the number before the hundreds column, if it's 5 to 9, that tells us that we round up. I'm going to take the same number again now and round to the nearest 1,000. Some of you, I know, have just done this in your head. Well done. 4,569. This time, I'm looking at rounding to the thousands column. I need to look at the number in the column before. On this occasion, it's a 5. So we have got, if I was going to round down, it would be to 4,000. And if I was going to round up, it would be to 5,000. 4,550, as we know, 4,500 is the number on this occasion that we've got in the middle. I know my number is greater than that. It's going to be roughly on the number line around here. So again, this one's going to round up. So had I had a 0, a 1, a 2, a 3 or a 4 in the column before my 4,000, I would have rounded down. Because all the numbers and examples have rounded up that I've shown you, if I just choose a number then, let's say I had 4,434. On this occasion, looking at my thousands column, the number before is a 4. 0 to 4 touch the floor, I'm rounding down. So this number would actually round down to 4,000. I'm now just going to briefly show you the tasks for today. The Sapphire challenge, which is the simplest challenge, involves you rounding 2-digit numbers to the nearest 10. And as I scroll through that, you can actually see that I've put all of the numbers that you need to think about on your number line already on there for you. And obviously you need to make the decision whether to round down to, for example, is 44 nearer 50 or 40? Make the decision whether it rounds to 40 or 50. Obviously on this occasion, it would round down to 40. There is a separate video which you can find on the YouTube channel, which when I've recorded that, will have a link at the top of this sheet, and that separate video can help anyone who's approaching that Sapphire challenge. The Bronze challenge is just going to focus on rounding to the nearest 100 and the nearest 10. Now, when you're although there are some examples at the start, when you're faced with a table like that, sometimes it can feel a bit daunting. Inaccuracies can creep in. Just a reminder, whatever level you're at today, you can still make your own jottings, as we would do in class, to help your understanding. So if I was rounding 812 to the nearest 10, I might, on a separate piece of paper, write down the nearest 10 that comes before 812, write down the nearest 10 that comes after 812. And then I can see it would round down on this occasion, therefore I can then fill in my information on the table. Thinking of 812 and whether it would round to the nearest 100, well, the 100 that comes after it is 900, the 100 that comes before it is 800. On this occasion it would round down, hence I've now put that on the table. So please, with all maths, do make your own jottings that you need to ensure that you're going to be successful. If you are doing the Silver challenge, it's rounding to the nearest 10, 100 and 1000. And the Gold challenge is no more difficult than the Silver challenge, it just presents it in a different format. For this you would need a paper clip. You put the paper clip on the tip of the pencil, hold your pencil with the paper clip on the end, spin the paper clip. If it lands on round to the nearest 100, then you would need to round your number to the nearest 100. Now, in terms of generating numbers, I'd like you to do that with your own dice, or go online and just type in dice online, and you can roll a dice 4 times to generate a 4-digit number. Okay? Some of you really want to challenge yourselves, so you could possibly even try a 5-digit number as well. And I'd like you to repeat that 12 times. So effectively, you are doing 12 numbers and rounding them either to the nearest 10, 100 or 1000, depending on what you spin on your spinner. And there's an extra challenge there at the end. So that concludes today's lesson. Good luck with your activities. Please check through your answers at the end, and I look forward to speaking to you all again tomorrow. Thank you.